Hello, I'm the awesome nostalgic Pharaoh King guy, here to check out cool stuff anywhere. Guess what? We're still on crossover time. Since I reviewed the Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright video game, I still have the time to pick the next crossover for today. And now, you're gonna love this. Remember that certain Hanna-Barbera cartoon that was so cool to some of you people out there that even a certain cat and mouse team had to team up with? No. I'm talking about Johnny Quest. Which is why I'm reviewing the next crossover installment, Tom and Jerry Spy Quest. I know we've seen Tom and Jerry join up with some famous classic characters, like Sherlock Holmes, the characters from Wizard of Oz, and even Robin Hood. But now we see them teaming up with your favorite Hanna-Barbera characters of Johnny Quest. And you people were expecting that Tom and Jerry team up with Scooby-Doo. Well, sorry, that'll happen some other time. Now, on to the reviewing. This is Tom and Jerry Spy Quest. Now, in this movie, we see our favorite cat and mouse duo just minding their own business at the sunny beaches and doing what they always do countless times, chasing and facing each other on their little game of cat and mouse. Then, Jerry found this familiar dog to scare Tom. And do you know whose dog that is? That's Johnny Quest's dog, Bandit. That means that Tom and Jerry meet Johnny Quest, Hachi, and Bandit. That was my favorite scene of this movie. But their first meeting will have to wait, cause they find themselves on the run from flea-flying cat robots. But thanks to Tom's scaredy attacks, due to Jerry having Bandit to scare him, they were utterly defeated. For now, because Ray's Bandit showed up just in time on the boat, and Johnny, Hachi, and Bandit hopped on board, with Tom and Jerry along. Oh, and those free robots? They were just some free cats in their tech suits. You've seen these cats before, right? Also, their boss is Dr. Zin, who is voiced by the guy who played Poe's dad from the Kung Fu Panda franchise. Also been obsessed with Tom, who just fought all his cat minions. Seriously? Oh, and he wants to kidnap Dr. Quest. We now see Johnny, Hachi, Bandit, Race, with Tom and Jerry, made it to their home at Quest Labs, where we see good old Dr. Benton Quest, who, by the way, is activating his latest invention, the Q-Spear, a device that had enough power to run one small city indefinitely. He just solved the world's energy problems. If someone evil will have its hands on it, there's no telling of the chaos it'll cause. And by someone evil, I meant Dr. Zen. They'll not let fear and evil stand in the way of science or dinner, while Tom and Jerry still doing their wacky hijinks in this crossover, like Jerry set Tom's tail on fire. Anyway, speaking of dinner, I like the scene where Tom and Jerry feel themselves at home when they're at Quest Labs, and at that night, they bunk into bed with Johnny, Bandit, and Hachi. Tom, who was still hungry, just accidentally happened to turn off the security system, which was the perfect time for free cat minions under Zin's orders to get it, while Tom's little mealtime was interrupted by Jerry. Now the cat minions showed up too, but they came here to steal the Q-Spear and kidnap Dr. Quest. Tom and Jerry tried to stop them, but things get awry. Then came the rest of the Quest crew to see the commotion. But the worst part was that they finally kidnapped Dr. Quest with Race as a bonus and stole the Q-Spear. With Race out of the picture, who will save Dr. Quest? Why, Johnny, Bandit, and Hachi. With Tom and Jerry, of course. You see, they have just arrived in the city at Mount Jovastad, where they met Race's old flame, Jezebel J. They asked her for help, but she can't. At least she gave them some gear and gadgets to get to Zin's Island, while Jezebel was doing her debut performance along with Droopy. There was a chase scene backstage, and that's out of the way. Well, but that's out of the way, because Johnny, Hachi, Bandit, Tom, and Jerry finally reached Zin's Island. Then a whole bunch of weird, funny stuff happened, like Johnny and Hachi were kidnapped. Dr. Quest had no choice but to help Dr. Z access the power of the Q-Spear if it meant there would be any bare danger to the boys. Tom wanted to escape this whole adventure, but Jerry said no. Then they find themselves inside some kind of room full of weapons and armory. Tom hid himself inside one of the tech suits that the free cats were wearing, and Bandit somehow found them. Now you may be wondering how the dog managed to find them. Well, I'll tell you. Johnny and Hachi were in the prison cell with Race, and they sent Bandit to find Tom and Jerry by bringing the dog inside the air vent. Elsewhere, Dr. Zin was so excitedly that the power of his intellect is being unleashed. But Dr. Quest said that it sounded like his Q-Spear. Even when they were freshmen at the university, Zin thinks he was jealous of his superior genius. Oh please, all he had was a genius for destruction. I mean, come on, Zin didn't burn down the chemistry lab. It was never proven. Well, there was a little cloud of radiation. Zin didn't know why they got so huffy about it. He was the one who lost his hair. His long, beautiful, silky hair with its natural bounciness. Well, they had to evacuate the city, so what was the worst that could happen? Zin and Bandit would have made a perfect team, rule the world, and instead the glory will be all Zin's. He could have at least saved all the trouble by building a hair restorer. Anyway, as the island began to rise, Tom, Jerry, and Bandit managed to free Johnny, Race, and Hachi just as they were about to become monster crab kebab. They managed to make their move on the Q-Spear. They were almost cornered by those free cat minions, and were done for. But the power of teamwork had saved the day, and they finally saved Dr. Benton. But the bad news is the island is about to land on the USA, and it'll be destroyed. Dr. Zin was about to leave the island with his escape pod, but it was full thanks to those free cat minions of his, so he had to hang on. Why did he have to make his minion out of cats? The heroes made their escape as well, with the help of Jezebel and Droopy, and had saved the world. Everyone cheered at the ceremony as the president gives them the medals, and Tom and Jerry began their chase again. And the movie ends. So that was Tom and Jerry's Spy Quest. And I liked it already. It made me want to have some crossover adventures, but this movie was so cool. I'm glad they made this film. The characters of two franchises were great, as they always were. The story was fine and brilliant, and everything was just darn good. But we're not done with the crossover time yet, folks. Oh no, for I have to review one more crossover, and it is something familiar to all of you. I'm the Ultimate Nostalgic Feral King Guy, here to check out cool stuff anywhere.